Chapter 4440. At the mention of Huamin, Su Yu's expression changed slightly. Actually, he knew in his heart that no matter when, where, or under any circumstances, the name Huamin was destined to be a curse that he would never be able to get rid of. Master, let's not waste time talking to this woman. Let's begin. Su Yu kept looking at his watch. He knew that time was limited, so he didn't want to waste too much time talking to Xing. In the past, he might have felt a little guilty towards Xing. But now, Su Yu felt that there was no longer any emotional entanglement between him and Xing. There was only the fact that good and evil could not coexist. Okay, let's go out first. Master Wu also stood up slightly. However, before he left, he still took out a yellow talisman and stuck it on Xing's forehead. He knew what Xing was capable of, so he didn't want her to hypnotize Su Yu's subordinates and escape. Master Wu and Su Yu walked out of the secret room one after another. Master, what do I need to prepare for the second dream entry? You and that woman are enough. Master Wu's tone was heavy. Simple. Then hurry up, we don't have much time. Su Yu looked at his watch again. However, Master Wu wasn't in a hurry to answer him. Instead, he tugged at Su Yu's sleeve and the two of them went to the balcony on the second floor of the villa. The girl you like is called Huamin? Master Wu didn't know Huamin. He had only heard about it from Xing. Ah yes. Although Su Yu felt embarrassed, he still nodded and admitted it. Do you think it's worth risking your life for the girl you like? Su Yu didn't say anything. Do you think you can face your parents and your grandfather? The Su family has very few people to begin with. Do you have the heart to let them send you off? Indeed, the problem that Master Wu mentioned was something that Su Yu didn't dare to face head-on. Su Yu was the kind of child who grew up with a golden spoon in his mouth. When he was born, he had everything. With the Su family's status in this city, they could get whatever they wanted. Su Yu had also lived a life of luxury since he was young. He enjoyed the love of his parents and his grandfather. His life had been so smooth. Therefore, this decision was indeed somewhat selfish. According to China's traditional thinking, one's body, hair, and skin were all given to one's parents. Seeking death was a great unfilial act. However, Su Yu also understood that if he didn't go, then he would be a walking corpse for the rest of his life. Therefore, after Master Wu asked this question, Su Yu smiled and took out a pack of soft zhonghua. He handed one to Master Wu and took one himself. Master, tell me, what is the purpose of living? Your question is too broad. I don't even know how to answer you. Master Wu smiled as well. Su Yu took a puff of his cigarette and continued. Actually, I think that no matter how one lives, one's life has to be meaningful. One can't just be muddle-headed and live in this world for decades. Some people actually die at the age of 30 and are only buried at the age of 70. That kind of death of the soul is actually more terrifying than the death of the body. My good brothers and good friends are like my soul to me. It's because of their existence that a living flesh and blood Su Yu was created. If I gave up on saving them because I was afraid of death this time, then my soul would die as well. The rest of my life would be just dawdling around until I'm 70 or 80 years old. Then I'll be buried like this for the rest of my life. I know that I've let down my parents and grandfather with this decision, but I believe that compared to death, they don't want to see me live like a walking corpse for the rest of my life. You dumb little donkey. You're really good at talking about grand principles. Master Wu smiled bitterly. He already knew that even 10 cows wouldn't be able to pull back the stubborn Su Yu. He was determined to enter the dream a second time and face those almost impossible missions. Chapter 4441. Hee Master, I'm actually not that stupid, am I? Besides, I still have my amulet and great compassion mantra. In order not to worry Master Wu, Su Yu touched the amulet on his neck. However, Master Wu gave him a profound look. Previously, your amulet and great compassion mantra were useful because you realized that you were dreaming, so you woke up. However, people who enter a dream a second time won't wake up. Therefore, your amulet and great compassion mantra are almost useless this time. Then what should I do? Why don't I bring an AK-47 and kill all those dream creators? Su Yu was only joking. However, Master Wu couldn't laugh at all. You can't bring anything in. I don't have the ability to let you bring weapons in. Because that's a dream created by them. Whatever they say will happen. Whoa, that dream creator is so awesome. It makes me want to be a dream creator too. Su Yu was amused. Stop laughing. You probably won't be able to cry later. Master, please. As your disciple, I don't think I've given you any gifts. I know you treat money like dirt, so I won't give you any money. Who said that? Who doesn't love money? I'll take as much as you have. Give it to me. Master Wu glared at Suyu on purpose. Suyu reached out and took out a small golden bag from his pocket. He had found it when he went back to his bedroom. Suyu had a lot of good things in his villa, but he was afraid that Master Wu wouldn't want it. Therefore he took this. Master, this is a token of my appreciation. I Suyu am satisfied to be your disciple in this life. Suyu handed over the yellow bag with both hands. What is it? I don't want diamonds or jewelry. I don't have a wife, so it's useless even if I want it. Master Wu waved his hand, afraid that Suyu would give him some gold, diamonds, agate, or jewelry. None of them. Take a look first. Suyu smiled mysteriously. Master Wu looked at Suyu and then at the yellow bag. Finally he picked it up and slowly opened it. When he took it out he realized that it was just a string of prayer beads. However, these were not ordinary Buddhist beads. Almost all of Suyu's things were made by famous masters. They were either bought at an auction or given to him by his friends on his birthday. The Su family was a Buddhist family. Therefore on Suyu's birthday his uncle, who was Su Xiaoxiao's grandfather, was there. He got this good thing from the south for him. However, Suyu had never liked wearing them. After all, in this era where culture was rampant, wearing such a large string of Buddha beads would make one look like a nouveau riche. Who would have thought that it would come in handy today? Master Wu was quite knowledgeable and immediately saw through it. This is the Vajra Bodhi, right? Master has good foresight. It's too expensive. I don't want it. This thing is worth at least 3 to 5 million yuan, Master Wu said firmly. Although he was poor and had poor food and accommodation, it didn't mean that he hadn't seen good things. Especially the 4 green beads in the middle of the bracelet, they looked priceless. Master Wu could tell that they were expensive Buddha beads, so he refused to accept them. However, Suyu forcefully put the Buddha beads on Master Wu's hand. Master, take it. Back then, when Sun Wukong became Tang Sanzang's disciple, he even knew to escort him to the Western Paradise to retrieve the scriptures and kill demons. As for me, I can't do anything for you. After I enter the dream this time, I might never have the chance to do anything for you again. Just treat it as a memento. You and I are master and disciple, after all, we are fated. Suyu put on the Buddha beads for Master Wu. Shut up, stupid donkey. Stop talking. I don't want to hear that. Master Wu's eyes were moist. Chapter 44-42. Although Master Wu was a rough man in the mountains, he was very meticulous. He had lived a carefree and unrestrained life. He didn't expect to have such a deep relationship with this brat whom he had only known for a few days. Actually, it was also fate that Suyu's mother was an old friend of Master Wu's senior sister. None of this was important. What was important was that Master Wu valued this kid's character. It was said that other than life and death, everything else in this world was trivial. However, Suyu knew that he was going to die, but he still wanted to go. There probably weren't many people like him left, right? Yes. Let's not talk about this anymore. Come, Master, take it. This is my gift for acknowledging you as my master. Suyu tried his best to ask Master Wu to accept the priceless Buddha beads so that they wouldn't waste their fate as masters. Seeing Suyu's sincerity, Master Wu didn't continue to be pretentious. He slapped his thigh and touched the Buddha beads. Alright, since you've given it to me, I'll accept it shamelessly. But as your master, I'll have to give you something in return. I've been poor for half my life and I don't have anything valuable on me. All I have is some scrap metal and you won't be interested in them. How about this? I'll give you a piece rope. With that, Master Wu bent down and took out a red rope that looked like a china knot from his old bag. There was only a red rope and no other decorations. It looked very monotonous. However, since it was Master Wu's red rope, it must be something good. It couldn't be as simple as an ordinary red rope. Suyu didn't ask further and happily put the red rope on his hand. Then he heard Master Wu say, "This red rope has been consecrated. I personally knitted it. It doesn't have any special effects. It's just a piece rope. In your dream it might not have any effect. Consider it a blessing from me. Even if you can't come back, I hope you'll be fine in your dream." When Master Wu said this, his heart ached. Unexpectedly, after Suyu put it on happily, he chuckled and then joked, "With this artifact given by Master, I'll definitely be like a fish in water in my dream. By then I'll probably be drunk every day, eating, drinking, playing and flirting with girls until my waist and legs ache. That's really the life of an immortal. It's better than real life. Master Wu knew that Suyu had said that on purpose because he didn't want to be emotional and make him feel so upset. Alright, that's it then. Cut the crap, I'll go and prepare. I'll give you 1 more hour. If you want to meet someone or go somewhere, then hurry up and go. After all, after you enter the dream a second time, you won't be able to come back. Although this sounded ominous and uncomfortable, it was an unchangeable fact. Suyu nodded and instructed his subordinates to prepare some things for Master Wu that he would need later. Then he drove the Lamborghini 6th Elemental back to the Su family's old mansion. Suyu's Lamborghini had crashed once and he was too lazy to fix it. He didn't want to buy the same car. However, the old man doted on his grandson. When he heard that the car had broken down, he got someone to customize an identical one overseas for him. Suyu's Lamborghini had mixed feelings as he drove. His car stopped near the old mansion. Yes, he didn't plan to go back and see his mother for the last time. It was just a farewell. He didn't want to make it so sad. Perhaps after seeing her, it would be even harder to part with her. Suyu sat in the car for a while. Then he got out of the car and kowtowed 3 times in the direction of the old mansion. Chapter 44-43. Grandpa Dadmom. I'm unfilial. I'll repay you for raising me in my next life. With that, Suyu kowtowed with tears in his eyes, got into the car and sped away. At this moment, regarding the company, career, contract, money, savings, he didn't want to explain anything and he couldn't be bothered to do so. There were still 25 minutes left before his master gave him the time. Suyu drove for a spin on the way back and thought about everything that had happened recently. He wanted to know the whole story from start to finish. First, many things that happened between him and Han Yueyao were in his dreams, including the death of Lin Hang, Xiao Xiao coming back to hire someone to kill him, and Han Yueyao leaving the entertainment industry to return to her hometown. These all happened in his dreams. In real life, Han Yueyao was still a small character in his company. Although she didn't stand out or become famous, she had already started to play small roles or show her face in some TV series. Second, reality and dreams kept combining, making it hard to tell what happened in the dream and what happened in reality. However, the good news was that the monster Layla also appeared in the dream, so there was no monster that drank human blood. Not many people in this city died because of this, including those who were killed by Jingde. Or rather, Bella, who became a vegetable, Jixin's wife, also became a vegetable in the dream. In the real world she might be fine. Suyu didn't have time to verify this. According to Master Wu, his current deduction was correct. Third, Zeng Ro was indeed a hypnotist. As a guide, she led so many people into the dream and into the big picture. The Zeng Ro in the dream, the Zeng meat that Huasiqian said was dead, was made up by the dream creator. It wasn't real, so Zeng Ro didn't die. Fourth, was Huasiqian really dead or was he faking it? He saw him explode in front of him with his own eyes. However, according to Master Wu, if Huasiqian didn't enter the dream and that Huasiqian was made up, then the real Huasiqian might still be alive. However, if Huasiqian also entered the dream and was killed in the dream, then he was really dead. Just like all of them, if they were killed in the dream they would be dead. He didn't have time to investigate Huasiqian now, because if he wanted to investigate Huasiqian he had to start with the prison. Gao Ran had already entered the dream, so he had to alert his grandfather. However, his grandfather was still in the capital, so he didn't have that much time for him. Therefore, Suyu decided to keep this matter to himself. When he returned to the dream he would confirm and analyze it with Qin Chu. Fifth, there were 4 dream creators in the dream and their identities were all hidden. No one knew who they were. In Master Wu's words, dream creators were the best at disguising themselves. If they disguised themselves as your friend, you wouldn't be able to tell. Therefore, anyone could be suspected, including Qin Chu and Huamin. This was also the biggest problem. Suyu wasn't Sherlock Holmes, so he couldn't verify who was real and who was a dream creator. Sixth, Zeng Ro was used as a catalyst to lure so many people into the dream. It made sense for those who had come into contact with Zeng Ro to successfully enter the dream, but how did those who had never come into contact with Zeng Ro enter the dream? For example, Qiao Fei, Lu Yen, Professor Rick, even Ian Nolo. How did those people get in? Were those people all imaginary? With so many questions on his mind, Suyu drove the car to the private mansion at the appointed time. Then he asked his subordinates to leave and locked the door. Chapter 44-44. Master, how are the preparations? It's almost done. Then Master Wu looked out the window. The moment the sun sets, we'll start. I'll send you in. After you enter, you'll definitely attract the attention of the 4 dream creators. After all, in their eyes, you're a fish that escaped the net. After you return to the dream world, you'll be hunted down by them. But the good thing is that you can successfully divert their attention so that they can't immediately attack your friends. That's great. Suyu smiled. Stupid donkey, you're being hunted down, yet you can still smile. But it can buy more time for everyone. It means that it's meaningful for me to go back. Sigh. Hearing Suyu's words, Master Wu sighed slightly and didn't know what to say. By the way, Master, before entering the dream, there are 2 things I want to know. Suyu thought about the questions in his heart. Ask away. The first question is, if Zheng Ro, the woman inside, hypnotized everyone into a dream, you mean that she had to come into contact with everyone to have a chance to drug them into a dream, right? Master Wu nodded. But what if people she hasn't come into contact with also entered the dream? Does that mean those people are all fictional? Or did the dream creators change them? So you actually wanted to ask why Qiao Fei, Lu Yan, and the professor who had nothing to do with Zheng Ro had all entered the dream. Master Wu explained, let me give you an example. For example, something happened in a village and someone saw it. Then he slowly spread the news and told everyone. 1 person spread the news, 10 people spread it to 100 people, understand? Master, you mean that the drug can be spread? Even if Zheng Ro hasn't come into direct contact with some people, as long as they come into contact with her, they will still be affected? Smart. This was the first time Master Wu had praised Suyu because he realized that Suyu's logical thinking was actually very strong. Then I understand. Lin Fan nodded. It occurred to Suyu that Zheng Ro might have drugged Huamin the most. Huamin believed it and treated the dream as reality. Naturally, he would bring Lu Yan and Qiao Fei into the dream. Since Lu Yan and Qiao Fei had the opportunity to meet the professor, it made sense that the professor entered the dream. Master, let me ask the second question. A dream creator can transform into anyone, so after I enter the dream, should I first treat everyone as a suspect before eliminating them one by one? You can think of it that way. But there are so many people. It's not easy to eliminate them. How can I find 4 dream creators in such a short time? This was what Suyu was most worried about. It didn't matter if he sacrificed himself. What he was most afraid of was that even if he sacrificed himself, he wouldn't be able to save everyone. Wouldn't that be a wasted sacrifice? Chapter 44-45. Oh my god, it seems like my chances of winning aren't high. This is really difficult. Suyu felt that it was the biggest problem for him to distinguish between the 4 dream creators. You can actually find help. As long as you can tell that it's your friend's real body that entered the dream and find your friend, you can ask your friend to help you find the dream creator. Yes, Master is right. I will definitely find Qin Chu and Huamin first. However, if my friend is imprisoned somewhere, how am I going to get there? Is it as time-consuming as the real world? Suyu frowned slightly and pondered. That's not necessary. I can teach you a way to go wherever you want. Teleportation? Suyu thought of a heaven-defying skill in an online game that he had played before. Yes, you can do whatever you want. Haha, doesn't that mean I'm cheating? Suyu laughed. Don't be too smug, kid. No matter how powerful you are, that's still the territory of the dream creators. Once you enter, you'll attract their attention. Trust me, they'll definitely think of a way to kill you. Then if I'm accidentally killed, will I be done for? Yes, you'll be dead. Fuck no, I haven't saved my friend yet. I can't die. So, Suyu, you better remember what I'm going to say next. This is very important, very important. Master Wu grabbed Suyu's collar and walked to the balcony. Master, please tell me. I'll remember it. Suyu didn't dare to be careless. After all, this was a matter of life and death. Master Wu pointed at the mountains and rivers outside the window and asked Suyu, look, what are these? Mountains and rivers. Yes, you will see the exact same things in the dream. You will see everything in the real world. That's why I'm especially afraid that once you enter the dream, you won't remember that you're dreaming anymore. It's just like how people dream every night. When they dream of ghosts, they will be afraid. When they dream of being bitten by a dog, they will feel pain. It's precisely because no one knows that they're dreaming that they'll know that they were dreaming last night. That's true. Master, continue. Suyu nodded and looked at Master Wu with admiration. In your dream you are weak. Dream creators are extremely powerful. They can even deliberately create ferocious beasts, venomous snakes, or high-tech robots that you have never seen before to attack you. As long as you keep telling yourself that you are dreaming, those things will naturally not hurt you. Fuck, they're so powerful. Then I don't have to be afraid of them, huh? So you discovered this bug. Don't celebrate too early. Let me finish. Master, please continue. A person's consciousness is actually very weak. Many people can't remember that they are dreaming at critical moments. If you accept everything that the dream creator imposes on you, you will lose. For example, if the dream creator creates a killer to kill you and stabs the dagger into your body, you will feel pain. Then you will see your body bleeding and you will feel that your blood will run dry. Then you will really be finished, understand? Yes, I just have to tell myself that I'm dreaming. Even if they shoot me, I won't feel pain and I won't believe them. Then I'll be fine. Yes, you have to stay awake at all times. Don't believe everything that happens in your dreams, especially when the dream creator is hunting you down. Master Wu patted Su Yu's shoulder. Master, how do I kill the dream creator? Will my friends return naturally after I kill the 4 dream creators? Su Yu asked expectantly. Chapter 44-46. You killing the dream creators is the same as them killing you. It's just like in the real world. The harm they do to you is real and the harm you do to them is also. Su Yu was in a good mood when he heard this. Master, are you saying that I just need to do it normally? Yes, it's not difficult to kill dream creators because as long as you stay awake at all times and know that you're dreaming, no matter how they create illusions, it's useless to you. The problem now is how to find the dream creators. If you kill the wrong person, it doesn't matter if it's a fictional person, but if it's a real person who entered the dream, it's equivalent to killing the innocent. What's even crueler is that in order to not expose their identity, the dream creators might pretend to be your friends. If you can't tell the difference and kill your friends, I'm afraid you'll feel worse than anyone else. Master Wu didn't want to say this before because he was afraid that Su Yu would feel bad. Sure enough, after he finished speaking, Su Yu withered. Su Yu suddenly realized the seriousness of this problem. To put it bluntly, what if the dream creators created Tang Chuan, Wei Liao, Gao Ran, Lingling and the others? How was he going to do it? What if he killed the wrong person and really killed his friends? Wouldn't that be a heinous crime? Hey, that's not right. Master, it doesn't make sense. Su Yu's brain reacted quickly and was in a state of high speed. He suddenly felt that something was not quite right. What doesn't make sense? The dream creators definitely can't become Mian and Qin Chu, because they're the main characters of the dream. Aren't those artificial dreams meant for the real person to enter the dream? So the important characters can't be fake, right? You're really smart, kid. I take back the nickname I gave you, Little Donkey. At this moment, Master Wu revealed his admiration for Su Yu. This kid was indeed outstanding. So what I'm saying is we've already eliminated a lot of possibilities. Then if it's really as you said, he's pretending to be my friend. If it's Old Wei and he's pretending to be Old Wei, then where's the real Old Wei? Old Wei entered the dream. Wei Liao and Jiang Shaowei didn't pick up the phone. Su Yu knew that the couple must have been tricked as well. If the main body entered the dream, how could the dream creator pretend? Wouldn't there be 2 Wei Liao in the dream? Master Wu chuckled. Your theory is right, but have you thought about it? Your friend might have been lured into the dream by the dream creator and locked up somewhere. She never showed her face and met you. What if the person you met was always the dream creator? After hearing this, Su Yu was enlightened. Then he felt a chill run down his spine. That was indeed a terrifying method. Alright, I understand. Master, you just need to send me back and leave the rest to me. Su Yu looked at the sky outside. The sun was about to set and he really didn't have much time left. Kid, it's not too late if you go back on your word now. You're not Lei Feng, you don't have to sacrifice yourself for the country and the people. Isn't there an old saying among the people? Every man for himself. Are you really not going to think for yourself? You're not married yet and you're the only grandson in the Su family. You didn't even leave a descendant for the family. Master Wu seemed to have a deep understanding of the Su family's situation. His words seemed to be advising Su Yu to think it through. Once he entered the dream, there was no turning back. Chapter 44-47. Master, I've thought about it. You know my temper. Even 10 cows won't be able to pull me away. I think it's about time. Let's begin. Su Yu was so happy that he was going to die. At this point he couldn't care less about being afraid or the consequences. He knew that he was the only chance to save everyone. He couldn't let them all die in their dreams, right? If that was the case, Suyu would rather be dead than dead. Seeing that Master Wu didn't say anything, Suyu reached out and placed his hand on Master Wu's shoulder. Master, my life in exchange for so many lives of everyone. I even killed 4 dream creators. I've profited. Silly boy, what a silly boy. Master Wu sighed slightly and turned to leave. Suyu followed behind him. Master Wu handed over a white bead the size of a thumbnail. Take this. It's called the will bead. Can condense your will. When you're in your dream, as long as you close your eyes and think about where you want to go, the scene there or a friend, you can go there immediately. You don't have to take a plane, which is so troublesome. Alright, thank you for giving me this divine artifact, Master. But, am I completely cheating? Suyu smiled happily as he held the bead. I don't know if you're cheating or not, but I know you might die this time. Master, why are you saying such ominous things? What if your disciple comes back safely? I'll drink a pot of good wine with you. Okay, I'll wait for you. Master Wu looked at Suyu with a complicated expression. Then he led him through the living room and finally to the basement of Suyu's private villa. It was the secret room where Zheng Ro was being held. Zheng Ro's head was covered with a white cloth, which made her look very scary. He was afraid that she would play tricks. Master Wu took out a small blade and bled Zheng Ro's finger. Then he caught it in a white porcelain bowl. Then he brought Suyu back to Anne's bedroom. You lie beside him. Okay. Suyu followed Master Wu's instructions and lay beside Anne. Then Master Wu took out a blade and connected Anne's finger to Suyu's finger. Then he cut their corresponding thumbs and their blood flowed out at the same time. At this time Master Wu mixed Zheng Ro's blood in. Close your eyes and count to 100. All right. Suyu didn't dare to speak. After hearing Master Wu's words, he closed his eyes and started counting. 1, 2, 3. Master Wu held a handful of incense in his hand. After lighting it, he surrounded Suyu and An with the incense and mumbled something. Stinking brat, remember, you're dreaming. Don't ever treat the things in front of you as real. This was the last thing Master Wu told Suyu. At first, Suyu could still hear Master Wu mumbling some unknown incantation. Later on, he felt that his surroundings were very clean, and he didn't seem to be in the Su family anymore. Boss. Wake up, wake up. In a daze, Suyu felt someone shaking his body. Then he slowly opened his eyes and immediately felt a blinding light. He used his hand to cover his vision. Slowly he got used to it. When he saw the person beside him, he knew that he was back. And, boss, you suddenly fainted. He scared me to death. I thought you were dead. And was scared out of his wits and his face was pale. Suyu opened his eyes and looked around the room. He realized that this was a white crystal room, so he was in an underwater palace. At this moment, in the main hall, a white crystal ball was trembling violently. Messiah's expression was grave. Master Suyu is back. What should we do? This kid must have come back to die. Go kill him, Linya ordered mercilessly. Chapter 44-48. With Linya's order, Messiah immediately stood up. With a serious expression, she led her men to the room where Suyu had appeared. On the way, she bumped into Huamin, who was taking a walk with his belly puffed out. Messiah, where are you going? I'm dealing with a death row prisoner. Miss Mion, you should go back to your room. You're pregnant, so it's not appropriate for you to wander around. After Messiah finished speaking, she hurriedly led her men through the long corridor towards the end. Huamin felt that Messiah's expression was a little strange, but he couldn't follow her. After all, no matter where she went, there were people following her and her movements were extremely restricted. Messiah only brought 6 people with her. She had thought that Suyu was easy to deal with. After all, in this place no one could use their abilities. However, this time she had underestimated Suyu's abilities. In the white crystal room, Suyu gradually woke up and stood up. First he touched the amulet around his neck. The white prayer beads his master had given him were also tied to the amulet. It was to remind himself that this was a dream, not reality. There was also the red peace rope his master had given him. The existence of these things made Suyu realize that he had come from reality to a dream. Master Wu had really existed, and are you okay? Looked terrible. After Suyu woke up, he touched Anne's forehead. I'm fine, boss. I just don't know what happened just now. I suddenly felt so uncomfortable that I wanted to die. I even vomited blood. Before Suyu could say anything and continued, "Boss, did you notice that ever since we came to the North Pole and were captured here, strange things have been happening? I was wondering where you were captured, but now you suddenly fell from the sky. I didn't even see how you got here. With a whoosh you came back to me. Also, I suddenly vomited blood and almost died. Felt like someone was choking me. And naturally didn't know what was going on, but Suyu did. Just now, when Xiaoan vomited blood, it was probably because Suyu had dragged Xiaoan out of bed in the real world and almost killed him. Fortunately, he stopped in time. Otherwise, if he forcefully moved him, he would really die in the dream and in the real world. Suyu had also had many nightmares in his life. This included bumping into female ghosts, being chased by people, and all kinds of strange things. But this time it was the scariest nightmare. What's scary is not what you see and what ghosts you see. What was even more frightening was that this nightmare made one unable to differentiate between reality and dream. Everyone was lost here. Even the extremely intelligent Qin Chu and Huamin were not spared. "Boss, what's wrong with you? Say something." Seeing that the boss was lost in thought, and reached out his hand and waved his finger in front of him. Suyu came back to his senses. "Xiaoan, have you been locked up here ever since you came in?" Suyu asked. He wanted to ask if he could get more clues. "No, I almost died. Let me tell you. Fortunately, the professor saved me." "Professor?" Suyu frowned slightly. "Yeah, he said he's Goddess Lu Yan's biological father. And didn't know much." "Where is he?" "He left. He seems to be respected here. Unlike us, we are prisoners, but he's not. Those strange people wanted to kill me, but the professor saved me. I've been here guarding Goddess Lu Yan. Lu Yan is here." Suyu finally realized the key. Chapter 44-49. Seeing Suyu's surprise and nodded. "Yeah, I was also very surprised when I saw Goddess Lu Yan. But I'm already very satisfied to be able to see her. Besides, I don't know if she'll wake up. Feels weird." With that, and pulled Suyu's arm and came to the crystal coffin. Suyu looked at the exquisite woman inside through the crystal coffin. It was indeed Lu Yan. But at this moment she was so quiet. Was she dead or she? Before Suyu could finish and knew what he was going to ask. As expected of a master and servant for so many years. "Boss, don't worry. Boss, don't think too much. Goddess Lu Yan isn't dead. She's just in a coma." The professor didn't say much, and it's not convenient for me to ask. Now that we're all captured, I think there must be a conspiracy. I just hope that Goddess Lu Yan will be fine and wake up safely. If she wakes up, we'll be saved. I'm afraid her personality will turn this underwater palace upside down. And admired Lu Yan as if there was nothing Lu Yan couldn't do. Therefore, and hoped that Lu Yan would wake up. Then he would have another helper. However, what he didn't know was that even the professor couldn't save him, let alone Lu Yan. The only person who could save him was his boss, Suyu. "Master, and if we can get out safely, do you have any wishes?" Suyu patted Anne's shoulder. He was sure that An wasn't a dream creator. This was because An had been with him almost all the time. There was nothing different about him. And in the real world, An had also entered the dream, so this An was definitely the real deal. Suyu used the elimination method to eliminate the remaining suspects one by one. Then he filtered out the ones he suspected and killed them. "After we get out, I want to eat hot pot," and said, "Fuck, you're so useless. I thought you would say that you wanted to start a family and get married." And quickly shook his head. "No, my boss isn't married and neither am I. I want to be single with you for the rest of my life. Don't talk nonsense. How can you compare to me? I can find one at any time. I have money and looks. Even if I'm 60 years old, I have plenty of women. But you can't. You're already old. If you wait a few more years, you'll go bald and your kidneys won't work. How are you going to carry on the family line then?" After saying that, Suyu couldn't help but hug Xiao An's neck and laugh. Xiao An had already given Suyu a good beating in his heart, but he could only think about it. After all, he was her boss. How could he really do it? His boss had been overbearing for many years. It was normal for him to offend the tiger occasionally. He would not lower himself to his level. "Master, and if you return safely, live a good life. Remember, get married and have children. Live an ordinary life. Being ordinary is a blessing." "What do you mean I'll return safely? Aren't we together?" It was not stupid. He could tell that something was wrong with Suyu's tone. Suyu was just about to answer when he heard noisy footsteps outside the door. Then both of them became alert. Someone's here. They're not friendly, and said in a low voice. Masterin, if there's a conflict later, promise me one thing. Boss, what is it? Hide behind the crystal coffin. I'll deal with them. Fuck, how can I do that? I'm your bodyguard. And couldn't accept Suyu's order. This is an order. If you dare to disobey, I'll fire you right now. Suyu looked angry. Boss, are you serious? And gritted his teeth, looking conflicted. Get to the back. I promise I'll be fine. Suyu ordered En to move back again because En didn't know that he was dreaming. In such a short time, Suyu didn't have time to explain, so he decided to let En retreat first and deal with these flies himself. Chapter 4450. En also knew that his boss would never do something he wasn't confident in. Since he had said so, he must be prepared. After some hesitation, En quickly ran behind Lu Yan's crystal coffin and hid. Then she heard the door being opened with a bang. Two monsters that looked like walking corpses rushed in. The reason why they were called monsters was because these things that looked like humans were almost all expressionless. It was impossible to tell if they were male or female because they were all bald and looked similar. When Huimin first arrived, he also found it terrifying. Later on, he thought that they were biochemical soldiers cloned by Linya, so he was used to it. Messiah was in the middle of this group of monsters. Go kill him, Messiah said. Then 6 biochemical soldiers rushed up and headed straight for Suyu. They were all holding extremely sharp military daggers. The first one to rush up held a dagger and stabbed it at Suyu's head. This was the rhythm of wanting his life. Suyu suddenly remembered what his master had told him. His return to the dream world would definitely attract the attention of the other 4 dream creators. They would think of ways to kill Suyu. Firstly, they didn't want him to cause trouble here and disrupt their plans. Secondly, Suyu knew too much and knew about reality and dreams. If he leaked it to others, it wouldn't be easy to proceed. That was why Master Wu said that as long as Suyu returned, he would definitely be hunted down by the 4 dream creators. As expected. However, because Master Wu had told him in advance, Suyu was already mentally prepared. When he fought with the biochemical soldiers, he used the moves he used when he was a special forces soldier. Although he didn't have any weapons, it was still easy for him to deal with these shrimp soldiers and crab generals. And also knew that once his boss got angry, he wasn't someone to be trifled with. Seeing the 6 biochemical soldiers being taken care of by Suyu one by one, Messiah's eyes gradually dimmed. Come on, I'll play with you, old monster. Although Suyu didn't know Messiah's identity, he could tell from her clothes that she wasn't a soldier. Facing this old woman, Suyu only had 2 guesses. She was either a dream creator or a figment of a dream creator. Messiah took off her white cloak. She threw it on the ground. You took off your clothes just because you can't beat me? Shameless. Suyu's words almost made him laugh out loud. He was wondering if his boss had to be so funny at such a critical moment. Are you courting death? Suyu's words obviously infuriated Messiah. After taking off her cloak, she took out a long whip. It was still the color of a snow-white crystal and the material of a long whip. Every section was covered with spikes made of crystals. They looked very hard. If they were to be whipped on the body, the skin would probably split open. Boss, Messiah far behind him. Suyu didn't say anything. He just looked at Messiah calmly. Suddenly, before he could see how she moved, she appeared behind Suyu in an instant. Then the crystal whip coiled around Suyu's neck viciously. How was this human speed? In the blink of an eye, she appeared behind Suyu, catching him off guard. Suyu suddenly thought of Layla, that monster. Chin-Chu had shown him the video before. Layla's speed was heaven-defying. So this woman was also, boss, and was so scared that his heart was in his throat. Because those white crystal thorns were about to pierce Suyu's throat. Chapter 4451. To be honest, being attacked in a dream was the same as being attacked in reality. The pain was also obvious, which was why people couldn't tell the difference. Master Wu was afraid that Suyu would forget his original intention and get lost in the dream. That was why she kept reminding Suyu that it was just a dream, just a dream. Suyu had always remembered it, so when the crystal thorns were about to pierce his throat, Suyu closed his eyes quietly, Then he told himself that this was just a dream. At this moment, a miracle happened. Messiah wanted to finish off Suyu in a minute, but she realized that the thorns on the whip couldn't pierce through it all. Impossible. Messiah clearly didn't believe that anyone could resist her powerful whip. And was also dumbfounded. Was his boss wearing a super nano-transparent bulletproof vest? While Messiah was still in a daze, Suyu grabbed her ribs with a backhand grip. Then there was a crack. In the quiet room one could even hear the sound of bones breaking. Then Messiah screamed, and the whip in her hand fell to the ground. It shattered into pieces. She retreated 3 meters back and leaned against Lu Yan's crystal coffin. At this moment Suyu struck while the iron was hot. He took a step forward and kicked Messiah to the ground. Then he punched her temple. Every punch was full of strength and it was fatal. Whether she was a fictional character or a dream creator, Suyu didn't want to leave her alive. In a dream there was no need for so much mercy and kindness. He just wanted to save his friends. After all, he only had one chance, and had never seen Suyu so crazy before. He was really scared. After fighting for 3 to 4 minutes, Messiah was completely motionless, and went out and stopped Suyu. "Boss, that's enough. That's enough. She's dead," and said. Only then did Suyu stop and gasp for breath. Just now he was on the brink of death. Fortunately he arrived in time. Suyu was not afraid of his own death. He was afraid that after he died, no one would be able to save his friends. That was why he was so nervous. "Boss, are you all right?" Shaoan patted Suyu's back gently. "I'm fine." Suyu shook his head. "Wow, you were amazing just now. That woman was so powerful, but she didn't even hurt you. Are you wearing some kind of protective film around your neck?" After saying that and touched Suyu's neck, unwilling to give up. "That was bare skin, nothing at all." "Can't be. If there's nothing, then just now you, and carry Lu Yan on your back. You have to go. We can't stay here and wait for death." Suyu stood up. "Where are we going?" "Boss. Let's go find Mion." Suyu knew that Mion was also imprisoned here, so he would definitely see her soon. And listened to Suyu's instructions and opened the crystal coffin. He carried the unconscious Lu Yan out of the room. Then he carried her on his back. Suyu knew that if he killed this person his master would not stop. These were just small scenes. The truly powerful ones had yet to appear. Just as they were about to walk out, Shaoan suddenly shouted, "Boss, look." Suyu turned around and saw the corpse of the woman who had just died slowly withering. Then in a few seconds it turned into a pool of water. It was dark green and extremely disgusting. "Fuck, what the hell is this?" And was scared out of his wits. Chapter 4452. Suyu was disgusted. He took a look and recalled what Master Wu had said to him in private. A person created by a dream creator would have green blood after death. After a normal person entered a dream and was killed, they would be in a normal corpse state. After a dream creator died, they would turn into red blood. So this Messiah wasn't a dream creator? At the thought of this, Suyu was quite depressed. It wasn't easy for him to kill one, but she was just a figment of his imagination. Suyu felt like he had worked for nothing. Then Suyu took advantage of the situation and walked out. And followed closely behind with Lu Yan on his back. "Boss, what's going on? What are these things? Did we come to a monster's lair?" The more Shaoan thought about it, the more he felt that there was something wrong with this place. Hence his imagination started to run wild. "There's no monster. Don't let your imagination run wild. I'll tell you the details later. Follow me first. Remember, be careful." After Suyu walked out with him, they passed through all the obstacles. Suyu didn't know where he got his strength from, but he killed these biochemical soldiers with one punch. It was comparable to fighting monsters in games. And was dazed. Linya naturally felt Messiah's death. Linya, who was standing in the hall, knew that Messiah had been killed by Suyu. Her eyes glowed red. "This Suyu is pretty capable. Seems like he's been taught a lesson after escaping from here." Linya knew that Suyu wasn't lucky to be able to enter the dream a second time unscathed after escaping by accident. He must have received guidance from someone. "Squad 7, listen up. Stop Suyu and his men and kill them all," Linya ordered the biochemical soldiers on the computer page. "Miss Lu Yan is inside too. Should we kill her too?" the leader of the biochemical soldiers asked. Obviously, the person who received the order was still worried. He was afraid that he would kill the wrong person and anger Linya. Unexpectedly, Linya didn't even think about it before saying, "Kill without mercy." As soon as Linya finished speaking, the door to the hall was pushed open. "You're crazy. You even want to kill Xiaoyan." The professor was about to talk to Linya outside the door when he heard her order. He was furious. "Lu Yan isn't my daughter to begin with. Didn't Mian tell you? Lu Yan was born from you and that clone Linya, so half of her genes are cloned old Lu." Linya smiled devilishly. Professor Lu looked at her expression and slightly frowned. "Ha, you look like you don't know anything. I guess your daughter didn't tell you the truth. Old Lu, we gave birth to Mian. After I left, the one who stayed by your side was a clone that I created. She looked exactly like me. She stayed by your side to confuse and deceive you. I can't believe you couldn't even tell that she was a clone. You even had a child with her. I'm so sad. Also, you treated that woman's body like a treasure and kept it in a cave in Iceland. How much do you love that monster?" Linya kept calling him a monster as if she was trying to agitate Professor Lu. She made him lose his mind. But the professor didn't fall for it. He calmly glanced at Linya's ferocious face. "You're the monster, right? You just want the red demon. You destroyed our home and destroyed the best image of a mother in Yen and Mian's hearts. Linya, you're the most terrifying monster." "So what?" Linya raised her chin provocatively. "Who are you working for?" Professor Lu's eyes were sharp. Chapter 4453. "I want the red demon," Linya insisted. "Don't lie to me. I've been with you for many years. Do you think I don't know what you're thinking? It can't be what you want. Even if you have such big ambitions, a woman is weak. You won't be able to use the red demon to its fullest potential. Tell me, is it the E or the M? Which country did you collude with? The local government or the rebels?" It had to be said that the professor was smart to be able to remain so clear-headed at a time like this. "Old Lu, you're thinking too much." "I didn't." Linya refused to admit it. "It's fine if you don't admit it. I don't want to ask. Now that things have come to this, we can't continue acting. But I'm warning you, Linya, if you dare to hurt my daughter, I guarantee that you won't be able to get the red demon. No one will be able to get it. If I die, no one in this world will know where the red demon is. Even if you get the Hera or it's useless." As expected of the professor, even when he was angry, he didn't curse. However, the expression on his face was extremely dignified. Linya knew that this old man wasn't bluffing. The whole world knew how much he loved his daughter. Linya smiled slightly when she heard this. "You still want to threaten me? Are you stupid? This is my territory. Old Lu, I should be the one warning you. If you don't take out the red demon, Lu Yan will die, Huamin will die, and all the children in Huamin's stomach will die. And this series of tragedies will all happen because of you." Linya's words put the professor in a dilemma. She thought that the old man's expression would change drastically after hearing this. After all, he loved his daughter as much as his life. Unfortunately, Professor Lu's expression remained the same as before. "If you want to kill me, then kill me. It's good that we die together. Then no one in this world will know the whereabouts of the red demon. And the three of us can reunite in the netherworld." From his words, it was obvious that the professor wasn't afraid of death. He wasn't even afraid that Lu Yan and Huamin would die. He was just afraid that Linya would play some dirty tricks. Of course, it was just like what the professor had said to Mian. She couldn't believe anything Linya said. "Hee, you're very stubborn," Linya confronted the professor. An Chu was on his way to the North Pole. However, Suyu was ordered to be killed by Linya and he had to face thousands of troops. When Shaoan and Suyu passed through the corridor, they somehow ended up in an open space. It was like a very large room. There was nothing inside, only white crystals. It was very quiet inside and even the sound of breathing could be heard. "What's going on? It wasn't like this just now." Shaoan was confused again. Why did he feel that his surroundings were constantly changing? "Don't panic. I'm here." Suyu looked around vigilantly. At this moment, the white crystal in front of them crumbled into pieces. That voice was very piercing. What was even more frightening was that after the white crystal shattered, what was behind it? It was a dense swarm of biochemical soldiers. These bio-soldiers were different from the ones Suyu had killed. Their faces were still wrapped in white cloth, which made them look like Egyptian mummies. The most terrifying thing was that there were so many of them. At a glance, there were countless of them. Where did so many of them come from? We're going to be crippled. Shaoan was so scared that he quickly put Lu Yen on the ground and stood back to back with Suyu. This was because they were surrounded by these unknown things that were eyeing them covetously. Suyu took a few steps back and leaned close to Anne's ear. It's very important to remember something. This isn't real. It's just a dream. When we fight later, don't take it seriously. Chapter 44-54. Shaoan was still in a daze and hadn't reacted yet. Suyu had already rushed forward. With the experience of killing Messiah the first time, Suyu was no longer afraid of these monsters. It was as easy as pie. Just like the special effects in wuxia movies, he killed one with a single palm strike. Even An was dumbfounded by what he saw. Although An didn't know what was going on, he saw that his boss had already rushed forward. He also rushed forward with all his might. At first it wasn't bad. It was more than enough to deal with the biochemical soldiers. However, there were too many of them. After 10 minutes, An's stamina was running out. Therefore he asked Suyu anxiously, "Boss, there are more and more of them. It's like we can't kill them all. We can't go on like this." "I know. Come pick up Lu Yen and hold my hand." Suyu killed the one in front of him with one palm strike. Then he ran to An and stretched out his hands. And held them with a dumbfounded expression. "And close your eyes and think with me. We're going to Mion's side now." Dr. Hua, cut the crap. Close your eyes and think with me. And didn't know what was so good about imagining things, but since his boss said so, he would do as he was told. Otherwise, if he continued to kill these things here, even if he wasn't killed by them, he would die of exhaustion sooner or later. Therefore, An picked up Lu Yen with one hand and held Suyu's hands with the other. Their thoughts became stronger and they began to imagine going to Huamin's side. Thousands of biochemical soldiers suddenly rushed over. Just as they were about to touch Suyu and An, the master and servant suddenly disappeared into thin air with the unconscious Lu Yen. All the biochemical soldiers were confused. They looked at each other, not knowing what was going on. The leader of the biochemical soldiers picked up his earpiece and reported to Linya. Master, the target disappeared into thin air. We don't know where he went." "Impossible." Linya's emotions fluctuated when she heard that Suyu had disappeared into thin air. This was a dream that she had created. Only she and the other 3 dream creators could do whatever they wanted. On the other hand, Suyu was a real person, a muggle who entered the dream. How could he disappear into thin air? Therefore, when Linya heard all this, she found it hard to believe. The footsteps that were approaching the professor also stopped. Huamin was in a bad mood in his room. She sat in front of the table and looked at the delicious food, but she didn't touch it. He felt as if something was bothering him. At this moment, 3 people suddenly appeared in the room out of thin air, causing her to be so shocked that her mouth could not close. It was true that Suyu did not have any special abilities, but he could travel back and forth in his dreams and go where he wanted to go. This was all thanks to Master Wu's mental bead. Master Wu had given it to him in the real world. It would be more convenient for him to save it for escape or to find his friends. Unexpectedly, Suyu was quick-witted and applied what he had learned. Moreover, he was very good at it. Shaoan was also stunned by his boss's powerful teleportation technique. Yen, Huamin stood up with a whoosh. When he saw the 3 familiar faces, he was so excited that he didn't know what to say. "Mian, we're here to save you. Come with us." Suyu panted as he walked forward and grabbed Huamin's arm. "Wait a minute. How do I know that you guys aren't cloned by Linya?" Suyu didn't expect Huamin to not believe them. Chapter 44-55. Mion, at a time like this, you're still suspecting us? Suyu looked helpless and aggrieved. "It's not that I'm suspecting you, but this place is too strange. Linya can even create Huasiqian, let alone you. I'm afraid that she'll do anything to achieve her goal, so don't blame me. Dr. Hua, we're real people, not clones. Look, we even saved Goddess Lu Yen." And tried his best to explain to Huamin. Then he showed him the unconscious Lu Yen. "Where did you find Yen?" Huamin walked over with his big belly, knelt down beside Lu Yen and touched her. Lu Yen wasn't dead, but she was temporarily unconscious. Huamin checked her pulse again just like before. First, she had taken some kind of drug and was unconscious due to poisoning. Seemed that Yen was real. However, she still didn't dare to believe Suyu and An so easily. It was in a room on the other side of the corridor. Goddess Lu Yen was in the coffin. After I was captured, I stayed with her in the coffin. President Su came to save us. We just encountered many biochemical soldiers. Those monsters were so scary. And was still in shock when he thought of the scene just now. Mian, how can you believe that we're not clones? Su asked her. Huamin didn't say anything, as if he was thinking about how to prove their identities. Then let me tell you something that happened between us. When I was first captured, I brought you to see me. I even ate roast duck with you, remember? Su tried to use his previous memories to make Huamin believe him. But, Huamin said calmly, clones can share memories. I heard that Layla has all my memories, including what happened when I was young. She can remember everything clearly. What should we do? We're in an emergency. We can't stay here anymore. This is an illusion. I think once this place disintegrates, we'll all die here if we go out. What illusion? What disintegration? Huamin seemed to think that Su Yu's words were extremely unreliable and confused. Mian, no matter how similar a clone is, it's not the original one. Layla is so similar to you and can even share your memories, but Qin still saw through it. He's never touched her, let alone slept with her. Although I don't know you, that I can tell her abnormality, her gaze, her smell, and even some of her micro-expressions are different. I believe that you can tell if An and I are clones or not. Huamin looked at them but still didn't say anything. And Su, you were anxious. Dr. Hua, we're really not clones. We're really, and stomped his feet anxiously, but he didn't know how to explain it to Huamin. At this moment Su Yu said, you're in a dangerous situation now. I heard from An that the professor is here too. I know that supporting characters like An and I are definitely not the target of these people. They must be here to capture you, the professor and Lu Yen. So whether you believe us or not, you can't leave this place. Why don't you take a gamble and follow us? I'll take you out. How about that? You can get out. Hearing that Su Yu could get out of the underwater palace, Huamin felt a glimmer of hope. She had been locked up here for the past few days and was about to go crazy. Even in her dreams she wanted to leave this damn place. Chapter 4456. Normally, Su Yu wouldn't dare to brag about this. After all, his ability was limited. But now he knew that he was in a dream and he had the thought bead from Master Wu. Just now he successfully teleported An and Lu Yen with him, so he felt great. Of course, as long as you trust me, I can take you out of here now. So you wanted to leave with Huamin and the others. Otherwise, who knew what that old monster Linya would do? However, after hearing Su Yu's promise, Huamin hesitated again. Mian, I've already said it so bluntly, but you still don't believe me? Even if I can save you, you still don't believe me? Su Yu was a little hurt. He thought that Huamin was hesitating because he didn't trust him. And he couldn't immediately prove to Huamin that he was the real Su Yu and not a clone. After a few seconds of silence, Huamin slowly walked towards Su Yu. Then he looked up into his eyes. The two of them stared at each other for a full 10 seconds. Huamin smiled. Just by looking at your eyes, I can tell if you're the real Su Yu, so I definitely won't doubt you. But I can't leave just like that. Mian, it's never too late to take revenge. Let's retreat first and think of a way to deal with this old monster later, okay? Su Yu thought that Huamin wanted to fight it out with Linya. Unexpectedly, Huamin shook his head. No, I'm worried about my dad. Are you talking about the professor? Qin Chu had vaguely mentioned Huamin's background. He knew that she wasn't Hu Zhenghai and Yang Meirong's daughter. Yeah, Linya captured my dad and locked him up here. He's the person Linya wants the most. Mian, what if that father of yours is also a clone? Su Yu was giving him a taste of his own medicine. Just now Huamin suspected him and now he was suspecting her father? However, it wasn't that Su Yu was holding a grudge. It was just that in this place, anything could happen. The dream couldn't be explained in a few sentences, so Su Yu used the word clone. Actually, he was afraid that this professor might be created by a dream creator. Wouldn't that be troublesome? No, I've seen Dad a few times. He's real, not a clone. Besides, what Linya wants the most is the thing in my dad's hands. She wouldn't be stupid enough to create a fake to get something out of him. A fake wouldn't know where that thing is. So, everyone here might be fake except for my dad because he's the key person. Although Huamin was pregnant in the dream, she was in a dream and had been under house arrest for many days. Her logical thinking was still very strong. Looking at her powerful aura, Su felt a sense of familiarity that he hadn't felt in a long time. In fact, after entering the dream for the second time, he felt strangely touched when he saw Huamin. Mian, you're right. According to your analysis, the professor can't be fake. However, I don't know the professor, so I can't use my mind to bring you to his side. So, let him stay behind to protect you. I'll go out and see if I can bring the professor here. As soon as Su finished speaking, Huamin shook her head. No, I can't let you go alone. Lin Ye's methods are very perverted. You'll be in danger. It's okay, I'm not afraid. I have magic treasures. Su looked at Huamin with a smile. There was a doting look in his eyes, just like in the past. All these years, Su only looked at Huamin with such affection. Chapter 4457. I don't believe you either. You can either take us with you or stay here with us. In any case, we won't let you take the risk alone. Huamin's attitude was firm. He didn't want anything to happen to Su again. Thinking back to what happened in Yunnan, he still had lingering fears. However, what Huamin didn't know was that Su had returned to his dream. He was already putting himself in danger, and he would pay a heavy price. All right, Dr. Hui, you win. You're the biggest in the world. Su looked helpless, but his tone was full of affection. He didn't want to have a head-on conflict with Huamin, so Su decided to bring Huamin along to search for the professor in this mysterious underwater palace. Dr. Hui, you're so pregnant. It's not good for you to bump around. Why don't you let my boss carry you? And interjected nosily from the side. I'm fine with it. Ask your boss if he can carry me. I should weigh more than 140 pounds now. Huamian gloated over her misfortune. Forget it. You should walk by yourself. I'm afraid my waist will be crippled. On the surface, Su rejected him, but what he was thinking was, even if you weigh 240 pounds, as long as you let me carry you, as long as you ask, I'm willing to give you everything. However, Su wouldn't say such emotional words. In the past few years, in order not to make things difficult for Huamin, Su had never said anything overboard, emotional, or mushy. And all of this was because of his deep love for Huamin. At this moment, inside Su's mansion, Master Wu sat cross-legged on a white round cushion. On the bed were Su and both master and servant, who were fast asleep. Master Wu had already done what he was supposed to do and could have left. However, he was still worried, even though he knew that Su would never come back this time. She still wanted to stay here and guard him. Firstly, he wanted to see if Im would wake up and if Su could successfully save him. Secondly, he was afraid that someone would barge in and unknowingly move Su's body. If that happened, all his previous efforts would be wasted. Lady Su came at 9 o'clock in the evening. He kept a low profile and only brought a bodyguard and a chauffeur. It was late winter. Lady Su was wearing a long black down jacket and carrying a purple bag from a famous brand. She looked elegant and calm. When Su hurriedly brought the twins to her, she felt a little uneasy. She asked her son, but her son refused to say anything. The twins were tired from playing and fell asleep at around 8 o'clock. So Lady Su changed her clothes and went out. She called Su first, but Su didn't answer. Later on, she asked about his whereabouts, and his subordinate said that Su had been in the villa the whole time. Such an abnormality made her very uneasy as a mother. Lady Su had the key to the villa, so she opened the door and entered. The villa was pitch black and it didn't look like Su was at home. Lady Su entered the living room and turned on the lights. She was shocked to see a figure standing at the stairs. Who are you? Oh, Lady Su. I'm Su's master. Master Wu was very calm. Why didn't I know my son had a master? Where did this swindler come from? Lady Su's words were sharp. However, when she saw the jade pendant on Master Wu's body that was similar to that of Nun Ci, she was shocked. Then Master Wu briefly told Lady Su about the incubus, but he ignored the price Su had to pay for entering the dream a second time. At this moment in the underwater palace, Su, Huamin, and the others were about to go out to look for the professor, but when they opened the door they saw an unexpected person. Especially Huamin. When she saw the familiar figure standing at the door, she burst into tears. Chapter 4458. President Qin. Su and Huamin didn't say anything. It was An who spoke first. Perhaps they didn't expect to see Qin Chu at such a critical moment. We were just about to look for you, and you came. What a tacit understanding. Suyu smiled slightly. Looking at this king-like man, he felt a little bitter. It was just like every time he and Huamin had a little time alone, Chu would appear. Huamin only had eyes for him. It would be a lie to say that he didn't feel bad. After all, Suyu was a human, not a god. His heart was soft. Yes, I hired an expert. He gave me a way to find Mian. At this moment, Chu was still grateful to that granny for the Miaozhong witchcraft and the concentric knot. He felt that otherwise he wouldn't have been able to find Huamin so easily. After saying a few words, Suyu and unconsciously made way. Chu stood at the door wearing a thin black cotton jacket. His face was a little haggard and he didn't even have time to shave. He looked at Huamin with a weary gaze, his heart filled with mixed feelings. Huamin looked into Chu's eyes, and the two of them looked at each other for a full 30 seconds. The air seemed to have quietened down at that moment. Then as soon as Huamian opened her mouth, her tears fell. She smiled and said, I knew you would come to pick me up. After Huamin said this, Chu's eyes were also wet with tears. He strode over. He hugged Huamin tightly in his arms. He didn't want to let go. Such a long-awaited reunion was always heart-wrenching. Chu and Huamin didn't know that they were in a dream, so they hadn't seen each other for more than a month since they entered the dream in Yunnan. Chu and Huamian loved each other so much. This month felt even longer than a year. Looking at the two of them hugging each other tightly, Suyu felt both gratified and sad. She was glad that she finally saw Chu. After all, he was the person she had always wanted to see. What made him feel bad was that he could always see such a heart-wrenching scene. Anne's eyes turned red as he watched. Originally, I didn't believe in love anymore after I was cheated by that woman. But, President Qin and Dr. Hua, the two of you are constantly showing off your love for each other, so I have no choice but to believe in love again. This is great. This is the most beautiful thing in the world. Shaowen was a boorish person and never knew how to say anything nice. However, after he said this, Suyu resonated with him. After hearing Anne's praise, Huamin and Chu looked at each other and smiled. I'm sorry, Mian. I'm a little late. I've frightened you. Chu reached out his warm hand and stroked Huamin's head. Then he patted and comforted her as if he was coaxing a child. You're not late, you're just in time. Huamin used the 30 seconds he spent looking into Chu's eyes to determine if Chu was the real deal or a clone. After all, anything was possible in this magical place. The clone could imitate everything exactly the same as the original, but there was one thing that it couldn't deceive. His eyes, especially his eyes that were filled with love. Therefore, in Chu's eyes, Huamin saw the love that had accumulated over so many years. The moment she saw Chu, she suddenly felt that all the pain and suffering she had suffered before was worth it. Chu, since you're here, I have a crazy idea. After seeing Chu and Huamin being intimate, Suyu suddenly had a suggestion. Chu and Huamin both turned their heads and looked at Suyu. What idea? Chu knew that Suyu was as smart as him and Mian. Chapter 44-59. Suyu licked his lips and continued, Since we have a lot of people now, why don't we take the opportunity to destroy this nest? Are you crazy, Suyu? Do you know how many biochemical soldiers there are here? Huamin said. She had been imprisoned here for the longest time and had been to the most places. She had also seen the biochemical soldiers that Linya had cultivated. They were actually clones that hadn't been formed. Before Suyu could speak, Huamin added, They have a lot of advanced weapons. I'm afraid we'll be slaughtered before we can do anything. Dr. Hua, you might not believe it, but our boss just tortured and killed a very powerful woman, and interrupted. Shaowen interrupted. Actually, he was a little selfish. He wanted to show off how powerful his boss was. Huamin looked at Suyu in confusion. He didn't know who An was talking about. When I was first captured, I was eating roast duck with you. Then do you remember the maid who was busy working beside you? If I remember correctly, her name should be Messiah. He had a good memory. He tried hard to recall the first time he met Huamin in the dream. It was indeed Messiah who had arranged everything. Linya had never appeared in front of Suyu. Oh my god, you killed Messiah? Huamin was in disbelief. Messiah was obviously Linya's confidant, not a small fry. But Suyu had killed her. How did he do it? Not only that, our boss also killed many biochemical soldiers with his bare hands. It was a spectacular scene, and continued to praise proudly. Suyu, did you bring weapons in? Chinchu looked at Suyu's face and asked calmly. Suyu shook his head. No weapons. Then how did you do it? Huamin was still in disbelief. Suyu looked at Chinchu and Huamin. Then he explained seriously, what I'm about to say might be a little too much information, but I know that with your brains you'll definitely understand. So listen carefully. This is very important. It's about our lives and deaths, and it's about everyone's lives. Suyu used about 5 minutes to briefly explain the matter, and had already heard the explanation of the dream once, so he wasn't so surprised this time. Chinchu and Huamin were indeed shocked. They never would have thought that their experiences in the past month, including the part in Yunnan, the part in the hospital, and the part with Layla, it was all a dream. Furthermore, they were still in a dream. Suyu, if it's really a dream, then we should have woken up when we realized that we were dreaming, just like when you escaped from the dream for the first time. Huamin's brain circuit was indeed very strange, and his reaction was very fast. Suyu had asked Master Wu the same question. Therefore he had to use Master Wu's original words to explain, I was able to escape because I realized that I was dreaming, and also because of the amulet and the Great Compassion mantra. Then we can also chant the Great Compassion mantra. Don't you still have the amulet with you? Huamin looked at the little thing around Suyu's neck. Suyu shook his head. It's not that simple. My master said that I was able to escape because I'm not the main character here, so the dream creator didn't put much effort into me. But you're different. You're the key person. If you don't kill the dream creator, you won't be able to get out. No one will be able to get out. Then do you know how many dream creators are here now? Chinchu was still a man of few words, but his questions were all important. Chapter 4460. 4. Suyu stretched out 4 fingers. So many. Huamin frowned worriedly. Although Suyu had not mentioned the power of a dream creator, Huamin could feel it. To be able to weave such a big dream, make so many people enter the dream and create a monster like Layla and Jingda. This dream creator must be extremely powerful. As expected, Suyu continued, dream creators are powerful in dreams. They are godlike existences. They can create many scenes, characters, and even strange things. If we are killed in the dream, we will die in reality as well. So creepy. And mumbled in a low voice. Suyu continued, but it's not like we don't have a way to deal with it. After I came back this time, I wanted to tell everyone how we were going to deal with them. My master said that a person's will is very strong. As long as you tell yourself that you are dreaming, you will think that whatever the dream creator does to you is fake. That way you will not be hurt. The difficult thing is that the moment we are in danger, we will subconsciously take it seriously. Not many people can really think that they are dreaming, so we have to adjust our mentality. How do dream creators exist in dreams? Chinchu asked Suyu. People like us. However, dream creators know how to disguise themselves. They might disguise themselves as people we know so that we can't do anything about it. Huamin pursed his lips. That's troublesome. How are we going to find them if this goes on? It's indeed difficult. That's why I wanted to discuss it with Chinchu. Suyu looked at Chinchu with trust in his eyes. That's not important anymore. How are we going to get out of here first? Logically speaking, as long as we don't split up, we can leave this place and return to our city with Suyu's prayer beads. However, the professor is still in Linya's hands. It will be difficult for us to find Linya. So Suyu is right. Why don't we take the opportunity to turn the world upside down and make Linya's fictional palace completely collapse? Chinchu obviously agreed with Suyu. Suyu was relieved to be recognized by Chinchu. At least he wasn't suspected. When he came back this time, he told them about the dream. It was ridiculous. Even if Chinchu and Huamin suspected him, he couldn't explain it clearly. But they didn't. They trusted Suyu unconditionally. This was what touched Suyu the most. Yes, no matter how many biochemical soldiers Linya has, it's useless. We have our ways. As long as we know it's a dream, we won't be hurt. When we get out, we'll kill them all and let that old witch Linya know that we're not pushovers for her to bully. Suyu was full of fighting spirit. Boss, what about Goddess Lu Yen? And carried the unconscious Lu Yen on his back. Mian, you support Lu Yen and walk between us. And I will fight in the front. Chinchu, you stay behind and protect Mian, Suyu instructed. Chinchu nodded. At this moment, Suyu suddenly thought of something and took off the amulet around his neck. This time the amulet was real. He had gotten it from his mother in the real world. He put the amulet around Huamin's neck. Take this with you. My master said that this thing is quite powerful. I remember that you're a Buddhist, so you know the Great Compassion Mantra, right? Remember to recite it when you're afraid and feel danger. Although it can't send you back to the real world, those monsters definitely can't do anything to you. See, you should wear it. I can't take it. Huamin felt guilty. He didn't want to owe Suyu anymore, especially at such a critical moment. Chapter 4461. What are you talking about? I'm fine. I'm a man, so I don't need this. You're pregnant. Even if you don't think about yourself, you have to think about the child in your stomach. Right? Take it, don't dawdle with me. I hate it when you're hesitant. Suyu waved his hand and said casually. Huamin touched the amulet, an indescribable feeling in her heart. She felt that she owed Suyu too much in this life. She could repay what she owed Mr. Qin with her body and spend the rest of her life with him. But how was she going to repay what she owed Suyu? Seeing Huamin's conflicted expression, Qin Chu put his arm around her shoulder and comforted her softly. Suyu means well. Just wear it. With Qin Chu's words, Huamin felt less burdened. Because Mr. Qin wouldn't be jealous or misunderstand. The two of them wouldn't have a grudge over this. After spending a few years together, Qin Chu and Suyu had gone from being love rivals to friends. Although they didn't communicate much and didn't speak much, they still had a tacit understanding. Everything they did was to protect Huamin and the child. Qin Chu naturally knew what Suyu had done and appreciated his kindness. This was the magnanimous side of a man. Then let's rush out. Everyone be careful. Then Suyu and Qin Chu carried Huamin and the unconscious Lu Yan. They rushed out of the room. As expected, they immediately attracted the attention of Lin Ya's biochemical soldiers. Yet another fight was unavoidable. After knowing that it was a dream, and Qin Chu's movements were obviously faster and more accurate, the three men charged forward as if they had cheats and clearly had the upper hand. In the main hall, Lin Ya, who was forcing the professor to ask for the red demon, was attracted by the monitor. She looked at it for a while and smiled. So lively. Qin Chu is here and so is Suyu. And these little guys seem to have cheated. Interesting. The professor looked at the person on the screen and was a little worried. Huamin was in the middle of the group. With his big belly he had to support Lu Yan. Obviously he was a bit cumbersome. And more biochemical soldiers appeared. It was inevitable that there would be times when everyone would not be able to take care of themselves. One of the bio-soldiers charged at Huamin with a sword in hand. The professor was scared out of his wits. He was afraid that his daughter would be in danger. At the critical moment, Huamin closed his eyes and chanted the incantation that Suyu had taught him. Strangely enough, the bio-soldiers around Huamin were instantly reduced to ashes. It disappeared in an instant as if it had been attacked by some mysterious power. The few of them killed their way through and finally arrived at the entrance of the hall. Suyu's eyes turned red from the killing and he kicked open the door. Then he saw Lin Ya standing high above the stairs. Old monster, we're here to deal with you. Die this time, Suyu cursed at Lin Ya. See, you're really lucky. However, you escaped and are willing to come back to die. Then I'll fulfill your wish. Lin Ya smiled slightly and wiped the crystal ball in her hand. Suddenly, a black tiger with the size of an elephant appeared out of thin air in the middle of the hall. Its aura was especially powerful. That guy was 3 times the size of an ordinary tiger. The tiger roared angrily, causing their ears to hurt. Ersko, eat this arrogant brat. With Lin Ya's order, the black tiger immediately pounced at Suyu with bared fangs and brandished claws. Suyu instinctively should dodge, but he couldn't. Because Huamin was right behind him. If he dodged, the tiger would pounce on Huamin. Chapter 4462. Suyu clenched his fists. Just as he was about to strengthen his consciousness so that the tiger would not be able to do anything, Qin Chu jumped up and stabbed the black tiger in the eye with the dagger in his hand. The tiger howled and covered its eyes with its huge claws. So you take this. Let's play with it. Qin Chu handed him a dagger and Suyu quickly caught it. Then he understood what Qin Chu meant. Lin Ya must have made up this perverted monster. for her to be able to create such a powerful beast out of thin air. It was obvious how powerful a dream creator Linya was. Therefore the first dream creator appeared. Linya. It must be Linya. After all, she could create a black tiger out of thin air. If it was before, Chinchu might have been surprised. After all, this was a ridiculous thing. But now, after Suyu told him the truth, Chinchu heaved a sigh of relief. As long as he remembered that he was dreaming, even a top dream creator would be helpless. Therefore, Suyu's return with the truth was the greatest help to them. Chinchu had a weapon on him, but of course, it was not convenient for him to carry anything else. Therefore he only brought 2 daggers. One was for his own use and the other was for Huamin's self-defense. However, at such a critical moment he definitely couldn't watch Suyu fight the tiger. Therefore this was the first time the 2 men had worked together. Huamin was still a little nervous. She held her breath and watched everything carefully. And on the other hand had been vigilantly watching over the unconscious Lu Yan. Then he looked at his sleeping goddess with heartache. The subtext in his heart was, if my goddess wasn't asleep she would have easily taken care of this tiger alone, right? Linya and the professor stood at the top of the hall. The professor looked calm, but he was still worried about Chinchu. In his heart, Chinchu and Xiao Fei were already the most outstanding son-in-law he recognized. He really didn't want them to get hurt in the slightest. At first, Linya was also watching the battle with Schadenfreude. She only wanted to see the scene of these ignorant juniors being eaten by the tiger. Unfortunately, it took Suyu and Chinchu less than 5 minutes to deal with the black tiger. The professor also found a trick. When the tiger attacked them, they didn't even try to hide. Even if the tiger bit his arm, he didn't seem to feel any pain. It was as if these 2 men had turned on a cheat code. The black tiger's eyes were first pierced by Suyu and Chinchu. Then his throat and jaw were stabbed multiple times before he finally collapsed to the ground and died. Linya looked incredulous. She looked at Chinchu and then at Suyu. No, it's impossible. You can't possibly have such great power. Speak, who helped you? If it was a second ago, Linya would have believed that Suyu was courting death by entering the dream for the second time. However, after seeing Suyu's shocking performance, Linya suspected that Suyu's dream wasn't that simple. Was he going to be the savior? Was he going to save everyone? Was he going to kill all the dream creators? The moment this terrifying thought appeared, Linya felt a chill run down her spine. No one is helping me. We're relying on ourselves. So what? You're afraid, old monster? Suyu smiled provocatively. Impossible. You guys can't even kill my biochemical soldiers. Linya obviously didn't believe Suyu. Stop nagging. I don't have time to waste on you. Linya, you're about to die. Do you have any last words? Suyu weighed the dagger in his hand, confident. Chapter 4463. Then Suyu looked up and smiled at Linya, releasing his aura. For the first time, Huamin realized that Suyu was a man who could control the situation. When he was outstanding, he didn't lose to Chinchu at all. Nameless Junior, you overestimate yourself. Linya gritted her teeth and said word by word. If you're willing to tell me who's behind this, I can consider letting you go, Suyu coaxed. Ha, do you think I'm a fool? If we can't kill the dream creator, none of you will be able to get out. Will you let me go? What a joke. Do you think I'll believe your nonsense? Linya's smile was creepy and scary. Suyu remained calm and asked with a smile, so, you admit that you're a dream creator? Hearing this, Linya's expression changed slightly. So you don't waste time with her. Let's go. Chinchu reminded him in a low voice. With Suyu's reminder, the 2 of them worked together to kill the black tiger. Chinchu was full of fighting spirit. He felt that it wouldn't be a problem to kill Linya while the iron was hot. Chinchu's mind was very agile and he immediately grasped the main point. Even in a dream you could ignore the harm others inflicted on you. If they stabbed you, you could block out the pain. Then you could counterattack. If the other party died, then all the damage that was inflicted on you would be gone. Therefore at this moment Chinchu was no longer afraid. He only wanted to work with Suyu to deal with this terrifying woman. "Mom, I'm your mother. Can you bear to watch me die, and let your man kill me?" Linya suddenly played the emotional card. She looked at Huamin pitifully. "Mian, don't be fooled by her." Suyu was impatient and quickly reminded Huamin to stay awake. Huamin glanced at Linya. "It doesn't matter if you're my biological mother or not. After what you did to me, Yen and Dad, you're no longer my biological mother. Linya, wake up. We've stopped playing the family card a long time ago. Aren't you embarrassed? Huamin held his belly and stared at Linya without blinking. His aura was the same as before. Although there wasn't a single dirty word, every word was enjoyable to listen to. Dr. Hui, you're awesome, and gave Huamin a thumbs up from behind. After following Suyu for so many years, Shaoan understood why Suyu liked Huamin and only liked Huamin. This was because Huamin's magnanimity, composure, calmness, and the way she handled things was not something an ordinary girl could easily learn. This was the charm that came with her personality. No one could compare to her, and she was unique in the world. At least over the years he had never found a woman who could do what Huamin did. Alright, if that's the case. Then, after Linya finished speaking, she grabbed with her left hand. She sucked the professor to her side. Then Linya's fingers wrapped around the professor's throat. She was so strong that the professor coughed repeatedly. Cough, cough, cough. Dad, Dad. Qin Chu and Huamin shouted in unison. No one expected this woman to suddenly attack the professor. Linya, how could you attack a weak old man? Are you still human? Suyu scolded in exasperation. Man, your dad loves you so much. So, you should know where the red demon is, right? Tell me or else. I guarantee that your dad will be separated from you forever in 3 seconds. Linya smiled at Huamin. She was using the professor's life to threaten Huamin into revealing the whereabouts of the red demon. This was also the first time Suyu and Qinchu had heard of what these people wanted, the red demon. Chapter 4464. Linya had originally planned to use her original plan to slowly wear down this group of people's consciousness, especially Huamin and Professor Lu. But to her surprise, Suyu's return almost messed up the dream. First he killed Messiah, then he killed thousands of her biochemical soldiers. This truly angered Linya, especially Qin Chu's sudden arrival. This greatly boosted the team's morale. Linya didn't want to beat around the bush with these children anymore. She might as well force them to reveal the whereabouts of the red demon and report to the big boss. That was why she wanted to use the professor's life to threaten Huamin. After all, no matter how heartless Huamin was, he wouldn't leave his biological father to die. However, Linya was wrong. Huamin really didn't know the whereabouts of the red demon. Not to mention Huamin, even if Lu Yen was still awake, she wouldn't know the whereabouts of the red demon. The professor's heart turned cold when he saw Linya's actions. Then he said calmly, "Yeah, the children don't know the whereabouts of the red demon. Why are you doing this?" "They don't know, but don't you know? So, old Lu, is your life more important? Or is your things more important? Let me tell you, if you die, you'll really have nothing left. Your wealth and status will disappear, let alone your red demon. Think about it carefully. I don't have the patience to continue playing cat and mouse with you. I've been coaxing you and providing you and your father with food and drinks here, but you didn't take it. Don't blame me for being merciless today." Linya's words were extreme. Huamin was so angry that his stomach hurt. Huamin covered his stomach with one hand and frowned slightly. She believed that no mother in the world would be so cruel to her own child and husband. "Well, what's wrong?" Qin Chu noticed that something was wrong with Huamin's expression and quickly went forward to support her. Huamin was so angry that he couldn't speak. He could only shake his head with a pale face. Suyu didn't know anything about the red demon, so he couldn't interrupt, and listened quietly from the side. "Xiaoyao, let me ask you one last time. Is the red demon really that important to you? Can you bear to abandon your family?" Professor Lu's eyes seemed a little complicated, as if there were a lot of things in them. Unfortunately, Linya was too eager to get red demon to notice these details. Instead, he tightened his grip on the professor's neck. "Cut the crap. If you don't tell me today, all of you will die here. You'll be the first to die." As soon as Linya finished speaking, the professor suddenly attacked. This palm strike actually sent Linya flying 5 to 6 meters away. Suyu, Qin Chu and Huamin were all stunned. "Professor, this is Taiji Fist. Even if you have never eaten pork, you must have seen pigs run." Suyu did not know much about China's martial arts. However, he knew a little about Taiji Fist because Lord Su liked it very much. However, Suyu only knew that Taiji Fist was used to strengthen the body, but he didn't expect it to be so explosive. The professor's palm strike looked light. However, it sent Linya flying. Linya didn't seem to expect this weak-looking man to be so powerful. After landing, she got up and was about to secretly create some ferocious beasts to deal with these people. Oh no, she's going to form another seal. I wonder what she'll create? Suyu shouted to remind everyone. At this moment something shocking happened. With a few muffled sounds, Linya fell to the ground. Everyone was dumbfounded except for the professor. Chapter 4465. What's going on? After a moment of silence and spoke up. Without waiting for anyone to speak, the professor explained, I planted a small adhesive explosive on her body. Dad, you actually brought explosives with you? Oh my god, aren't you too powerful? Huamin was pleasantly surprised. I didn't bring it with me. I secretly made it after I came here. I felt that it would be useful. The professor looked indifferent. Huamin had made adhesive explosives before. However, he didn't do it as well as his father did. To put it bluntly, it was something like chewing gum. It could be stuck to various parts of a person's body when they weren't paying attention. Then there was a small buffer time. Some were 10 seconds while others were a few minutes. This depended on the dosage of the raw materials used during the production. Suyu was no stranger to this thing. Huamin had made one before, but it was extremely powerful. At that time he had wanted to perish together with Huasiqian, so Suyu knew how powerful this thing was. Most importantly, no one saw when the professor made the move. However, when they saw the few bloody holes on Linya's body, they knew that there was more than one adhesive explosive on her body. Moreover, looking at the wounds, it was blown from the inside out. The area involved was very small, so it could only blow up Linya herself and not hurt anyone else. The professor even deliberately pushed her 5 to 6 meters away to maintain a safe distance. Dad, when did you do it? Qin Chu finally couldn't help but ask. When she was holding me hostage just now. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had such a good opportunity to get close to her. She's usually very vigilant. It seems that she was too smart this time. She wanted to hold you hostage, but she died here. Qin Chu sighed. At this moment Linya's body began to slowly wither, just like when Messiah died. However, when Messiah died she was a pool of green liquid. It was extremely disgusting. As for Linya, it was a pool of red blood. It looked very terrifying. Huamin was pregnant, so she couldn't stand it anymore. She turned her head and leaned on Qin Chu's shoulder. She's a dream creator. Seeing the pool of red blood, Suyu was very sure. Master Wu had told him how to tell a dream creator from a fictional one. I knew she wasn't Ya. You would never do anything to her family for some reason. Back then when Mian was switched in Dongtao town, Ya was very regretful and guilty. She missed her daughter day and night. So, Mayu would never do such a chilling thing. I was talking to her just now to distract her. Indeed, there was no sadness on the professor's face at all about Linya's death. Because the professor seemed to have already decided that this was not the real Linya. Ever since they were in Bali, the reason why he was able to follow her lead and beat her at her own game was to find his 2 missing daughters. Huamin was not sad at all. He had no feelings for this woman, and after hearing that she was a dream creator, he hated her even more. She's indeed not the real Dr. Linya. She's a dream creator, Qin Chu explained to the professor. Dream creator? The professor frowned slightly. Dad, have you heard of this profession? Huamin looked at her father curiously. The professor nodded. Of course. When I was in America I met one. The FBI has a dream creator. It's said that she's very powerful. She can pull people into dreams and everything in the dream is created by her. I heard that there was a rich businessman in the United Arab Emirates who spent a lot of money to hire a dream creator to create a dream for him to see his wife who had been dead for many years. He slept in the dream for 3 days and spent a good time with his dead wife. This is not fake, we saw it with our own eyes. Chapter 4466. When everyone heard this, they realized that the professor knew about dream creators. Seemed like they were really ignorant. Since the professor knows, Qin Chu, explain it to him briefly, Suyu said. Qin Chu nodded and told the professor about the situation. The professor nodded quietly. If it's a dream, then all of this makes sense. At this moment there was a sound like an earthquake. Suddenly the ground shook. Oh no, this place is going to collapse. Because this place was created by Linya. After Linya died, everything here would turn into nothingness. The underwater palace and the white crystal were all fake, so this illusion was about to collapse. However, even though it was an illusion, if they were hit by these things, they would still be injured. If they were unlucky, they might even be smashed to death. At this critical moment, Suyu took out the prayer beads his master gave him. "Everyone come here. Everyone pull my clothes. I'm going to take you out of here," Suyu shouted. Hearing Suyu's words, everyone gathered around him. And didn't forget to carry Lu Yen on his back, while Huamin was in Qinchu's arms. Then everyone pulled on the corner of Suyu's clothes. Suyu closed his eyes and used his strong consciousness to think about where he was going. In an instant, the entire world fell silent. About 10 seconds later, they could no longer hear the sound of the underwater palace collapsing or the sound of the tsunami. There was also a familiar smell around them. Suyu was the first to open his eyes. When he saw his surroundings, he smiled. This was his home, Suyu's private mansion. "Wow, we're home. That's great, boss. You're awesome. Give me a thumbs up." And was overjoyed when he saw the familiar environment. He was like a child who had been lost for a long time and finally found his home. Qinchu and Huamin heaved a sigh of relief when they saw this. They knew that this was Suyu's home, so they had returned to Sea City. It was the professor's first time here, so he looked around curiously. "Dad, this is Suyu's private villa. We're back in Sea City," Huamin said with a smile. This kid is quite capable." The professor looked at Suyu approvingly. Suyu scratched his head in embarrassment after being praised by the professor. "You can say that. This isn't much of a skill. These were all given to me by my master. Seems that they are quite useful." Then, without waiting for the professor to speak, anxiously and helped Lu Yen over. "Professor, I heard you're very good at everything. Can you save Goddess Lu Yen? It's not a good idea for her to stay unconscious like this." And had been thinking about Lu Yen the whole time and couldn't wait to see her as soon as he came back. "That's right, Dad. Yen must have fallen into that dream creator's trap. Now that she's dead, why isn't Yen awake? Could it be that the poison is too deep?" Huamin was also a little anxious. "Don't worry. Help her lie down. Let me take a look." The professor asked him to help Lu Yen lie down on the sofa in the living room. Then the professor took Lu Yen's pulse. Everyone held their breaths and waited for the results. They waited for about 20 to 30 seconds. The professor removed his hand from Lu Yan's wrist. Huamin asked, "Dad, what's going on? How's Yen doing?" And was also looking forward to it, afraid that something would happen to his goddess. Chapter 4467. He's fine. Someone probably used a deep sleeping pill on him. I'll give him an antidote later. He should be able to wake up after resting for a day or two. That's great. Thank God, my goddess is finally fine. Huamin and An were the happiest when they heard that Lu Yen would wake up soon. After going through so much and coming back, the few of them were in a particularly complicated mood. "I miss my daughters so much. No, I have to go home and see them now." Huamin was excited at the thought of seeing the twins. "Mian, wait a minute," Suyu called out to her. "What's wrong?" Listen to me first, ha." Suyu didn't dare to tell Huamin the truth. "Suyu, did something happen to my baby? Don't scare me." Seeing Suyu's hesitation, Huamin's expression changed drastically. Qinchu's expression also turned serious. Suyu had been busy explaining about the incubus and the dream creator. He didn't have time to talk about the twins. Although Suyu didn't have to say it, Suyu was a very honest person. He didn't want to lie. If Huamin and Qinchu found out in the future, it would be troublesome. No, nothing happened. Don't think too much." Suyu waved his hand. "Big brother, hurry up and tell me. My heart is about to jump out of my chest." Huamin touched his heart and felt that it was much faster than usual. He was afraid that he would hear bad news from Suyu. "About this, I actually don't know how to say it. I think it's quite cruel," Suyu stammered. On the other hand, the professor continued and asked calmly, "Little Su, is it possible that my twin granddaughters were actually made up in the dream?" He was surprised. "How did you know?" "Judging from your expression, I guessed it." The professor looked calm. That's right. Suyu bit his lips nervously. Then she secretly raised her head and peeked at Qinchu and Huamin. As Suyu expected, Huamin would be sad, upset and cry. Qin would remain silent. But the truth was that Qin was indeed very quiet and did not say a word. However, Huamin also fell silent. This made people even more worried. Huamin? Suyu looked at Huamin with heartache. Unexpectedly, the moment Huamin raised his head, he smiled. It was a smile from the bottom of his heart. Dr. Hua, and wanted to comfort him, but he didn't know what to say. Thank you for telling me. This is a good thing, Huamin said with a smile. Huh. Suyu didn't understand what she meant. However, Qin immediately understood what Huamin was thinking. He put one arm around Huamin's shoulder, lowered his head and said gently, Mian, what you mean is that since the daughters in the dream are fictional, it can only mean that our daughters are still in the real world and haven't entered the dream. Yes. I saw them in the real world. I was afraid that something would happen to them, so I brought them to my house and asked my mom to take care of them. So don't worry. My old house is as well defended as a military zone. Suyu finally realized that it was a good thing for Huamin that the twins hadn't entered the dream. Although they couldn't see their real children, their children's safety was their greatest hope as parents. But, my daughters didn't enter the dream because they weren't targeted, or is there another reason? Mr. Qin's mind was very sharp. The twins were able to resist being pulled into the dream, so it wasn't because the dream creator was merciful and deliberately let them go. Chapter 4468. Suyu scratched his head. According to my master, Pudding and Little Bean probably have something like an amulet that can ward off evil spirits. I thought about it carefully and realized that the only thing on these two kids is the jade gourd that Lu Yen gave them. Maybe there's something special about this gourd. That gourd was indeed blessed by an eminent monk, Huamin said. It seems like this nightmare is also an evil thing. It's afraid of a blessed jade gourd. Qin nodded. He also understood why his daughter didn't enter the dream. Then the children in the dream. The professor understood the gist of the story. They were created by dream creators, but they're harmless just like our twins. He said. But I sent them abroad. They're traveling with Ningning and Tang Chuan, Qin said. That's good. Let's get away from here. We can use the remaining time to find the other 3 dream creators. The professor nodded. Dad, come home with me first. Even in the dream, we still have to go home. Huamin walked over with a smile and took the professor's hand. Then Yen. The professor was still reluctant to part with Lu Yen. I'll take good care of Goddess Lu Yen. I'll tell you as soon as she wakes up. And obviously didn't want Lu Yen to leave. Okay, let Yen rest here. I'll concoct the antidote. Then the professor walked to the side and took out some bottles and jars he carried with him. After giving Lu Yen an injection, Huamin, Qin and the professor left Suyu's mansion. Then only Suyu and An were left. Boss, are we still in a dream? What do you think? Suyu rolled his eyes at An. I find it unbelievable. I feel like this is the same as the real world. It doesn't feel like a dream. Suyu sighed slightly. That's why I said that dream creators are very powerful. Dr. Linya, logically speaking, should be a boss-level character. I thought it would be difficult to deal with her, but I didn't expect her to die so quickly. It's unexpectedly smooth. Shaoan recalled everything that had happened in the underwater palace and sighed. Suyu, on the other hand, was deeply worried. Boss? I'm talking to you. Can't you hear me? What? Suyu was indeed distracted. I say, that old witch in the underwater palace is too easy to deal with. Aren't all dream creators very powerful? I feel that. Linya is just a small character. The real powerful dream creator is still behind. Or hidden. Boss, don't scare me. Things were getting more and more ridiculous. Shaoan did not dare to think about what would happen in the future. Forget it, I'm not going to think about it anymore. The more I think about it, the more tired I get. It wasn't easy for me to escape from that damned place. I need to rest for a while. He was really tired. When he came back this time, he went straight to the underwater palace. This was because Master Wu had used An's finger blood to connect him to the dream, so wherever An was, Suyu would be there. Now that he had finally escaped, even though it was in a dream. However, when he thought about the biochemical soldiers and the black tiger, it was a false alarm. Suyu felt his body go limp and weak. He decided to lie down on the sofa, and sent Lu Yen to the guest room and took good care of her. In the real world, when Lady Su heard Master Wu's words, tears streamed down her face. Her son didn't say anything about what had happened to him, nor did he mention anything about it when he returned home that day. Now that he was unconscious, Lady Su didn't know how to feel. Master Wu, after my son Suyu enters the dream, will he be able to return safely with everyone? Lady Su asked Master Wu with tears in her eyes. You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.